Aloha and welcome to the JavaScript 1 module. In this course I assume you have programming background, but I don't assume you have any JavaScript background, so we're going to kind of start from scratch. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to move relatively rapidly, because I think we should be able to go relatively rapidly because, obviously you all should have some programming background. Nevertheless, I'm kind of trying to create a curated experience to help you through this. And so in this first module, what I'm going to do is give you one reading. This one, you don't know JavaScript. And if you get the ebook, which is what I totally recommend you do, it's free. Okay, so you get this PDF. It says it's 87 pages, but really the first 59 pages are the good stuff. The rest of it's just kind of appendices and so forth. So there's about 59 pages of reading, and that's a kind of a way of, reading about JavaScript and starting to get a preliminary understanding of the syntax and some of the functions. That won't take you that far. What I want to have you guys all do is to go through the Code Academy JavaScript track and the first 5 sections of it, which is introduction, functions, for loops, while loops, and control flow. They say that this whole module, which this part of it only takes you halfway through. They say 10 hours for the whole course, and I did it, and I'll tell you, it gets a little boring at times, and you feel like this is a little slow. But look at me, I went through it myself, so you guys can do it too. And I think it probably took me 3-4 hours or something. So this estimate is not entirely off. And so by the time you get done with these sections, the way I want to check is by actually logging in and making sure that when we look at your JavaScript section under Code Academy, that I get the little check boxes for all of these first sections. Okay, and that should that's a very slow introduction to the language. Okay, it should be very easy for you to go through that particular experience, and I want you to get through that pretty fast, because then what I'm going to have you do is start solving pretty simple problems, but new problems. This one is Project Euler problem 1, and we can take a look at it here, and it's basically find the sum of all the multiples of 3 or 5 below 1,000. Okay, so that's a pretty simple problem. And the way I want you to solve it is by using this online environment called JS Fiddle, okay, which looks like this, and you can type in JavaScript into this window here, and then and then we can display the JavaScript console down here, and so when you do a console.log statement, it shows up here. So this is a way. We haven't gotten to using the IDE yet. But for these very simple problems that we're using, JS Fiddle is just fine, and it gives us kind of an online JavaScript environment. And very importantly, you need to install the Chrome browser for this stuff, because we're going to be using the Chrome Developer Tools window extensively. So Firefox is Firebug, and I don't want to argue which is better. It's kind of random that I chose Chrome. But let's just all use the same thing, because then we can all work together more easily. Okay, so this is also going to give you some insight into how these workouts of the day work. And basically, you're going to have some kind of timer that you use to find out exactly how long it takes you to do the workout. And then you're going to record it, because there's a second problem you'll do just like the first problem, and then the last experience for this module is where you're going to write a technical essay, publish it in your blog, that talks about your experiences using JS Fiddle, starting to learn about JavaScript and this athletic software engineering approach. And I want you to actually talk about how long it took you to finish. If you did a WAD multiple times. Most students that I've taught this athletic software engineering a couple times now, they very frequently will do the WADs multiple times. So that's and that's a good thing to do. So I want you to if you do that, please talk about it in this technical essay. You're not required to. You don't get any extra points for doing it, but just as a reminder, what's going to happen is that there will be an assessment in class on Wednesday of your ability to write simple JavaScript. So I'm going to give you a new program, and you're going to only have a certain amount of time to solve it. If you don't solve it in that time, then you don't get credit. Okay, and if you don't solve it correctly, you don't get credit. So it pays to kind of practice in advance, right? Just like any other athletic thing, you go play baseball or tennis or something, paddling, all the same thing. You know, you want to train, you want to practice, and then you get more skillful, and you can do things well. And this second assessment will be where I will look at your technical essay. So in terms of the schedule, moving over here, you can see the JavaScript 1 module starts. It takes a week, just like most of our modules do. And you can see these experiences. The first few experiences are actually for the professional persona module, but then starting on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all 4 days, I basically have an experience due each day, which gets you all set up for the in-class assessment on Thursday. Okay, so that's the JavaScript 1 module. I think it's a pretty rockin' module. Going to learn a lot of, well, you're going to learn a lot of JavaScript this week. You know, there's a lot more after this week that you'll learn. But I think if you apply yourself, you'll find that you like JavaScript. It's a pretty easy language. Has some really cool stuff about it. I'm personally a big JavaScript, fan, I guess. I'm actually, Lisp is the language that I like the most of all in the world, and JavaScript kind of has a lot of Lisp-like features, so that makes me happy. All right, so have fun with this module, and I'll see you in class.